Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Real Reds, talking authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. It is Wednesday. Usually we go live around 12 o'clock, but due to other things ongoing with myself and Mr. Shreyas and Nick, we've done it now. We're doing a show now, so you would deal with it, or it is what it is. Apologies, it's not at 12 o'clock, but regardless, you're going to get the same news that you would have done then that you are going to do right now, and we're going to discuss Amorim. Relationship with Ahmad developing very nicely after one training session, would you believe it? A lot of reports coming out about him being mega impressed with Ahmad so far. Stuff on midfield recruitment in terms of the six, which me and Sam glossed over slightly yesterday, but I want to get Shreyas' thoughts on that. Yoro and Mount being pushed to start. A lot of stuff coming out in regards to those two players, but are they really ready and should we play them from the start, or should we drip feed them into the team? There's some stuff about Leroy Sané, and I want to get Shreyas' thoughts on Pep staying for another year as well, because obviously that has an effect on us, it has an effect on the rest of the league, etc. But we'll get into that towards the end. So make sure you stick around for that. Get involved in the conversation. Get your opinions in the comments section. We'll kick it off, Shreyas, with the Ahmad story. So this came out this morning. The sources saying Amorim has already taken a liking to Amad Diallo. There's a strong chance Ahmad will feature prominently in Amorim's system, with a starting spot on Sunday looking plausible. And there's reports saying that a lot of the squad have been blown away by his Mourinho style of confidence. So a lot of, you usually get this bit of PR and positivity around a manager, don't you? I remember little similar bits to Erik ten Hag as well. But you have to take it for what it is. Amad Diallo, what can he go on and do this season, do you think, in your mind?
I think now would be the perfect time for him to actually, play with more freedom. I would say, play in a position that I would say is more natural and plays more to his strengths. Because I still remember that during his stint at Sunderland, he didn't really play as an out and out winger. He used to be someone who used to find the half space behind the striker, and he used to operate in that space, and he was very, very effective while playing that position at Sunderland. Now under Amorim, I think he's going to be playing under a similar system and in a similar position with someone like Bruno, who will be complementing him alongside in that number 10. So I think the ceiling and I think the amount of potential that he's got to actually, play in that position and actually make that position his own, I think it's a lot higher in comparison. I would say in comparison to the other wingers that we've got: Rashford, Garnacho, Anthony, and then you've got Ahmad. Those wingers who are supposedly, being asked to play as a secondary 10. I think Ahmad is the one who's more natural to that position in comparison to every single one of them.
That was the one thing I identified straight away with Ahmad. The way he uses those attacking three, you've got the one main striker who's a bit of a channel runner. Whether it's in behind or holding it up as well, there's a bit of blend of both. But then the two attacking mids, you've got one who slightly drops into kind of a bit of a half space, which Ahmad always does anyway. So it's tailor made for him. And then as well as that, obviously under Erik ten Hag, he had started the season, didn't he, really well? I think he got a goal against Brighton, was it? I think, or an assist.
Yeah, against Brighton. Yep.
Against Brighton, and then for some reason he kind of came out of the team for a bit, and no one could really understand why ten Hag took him out. He was playing other players there in that position. And then as soon as he plays against, who was it in the Europa League? PAOK. Scored 2 goals against them, and then played on the weekend as well, last weekend, and looked like really, really good. Have you ever understood why he took him out of the team? Or why? Because we was crying for him to start when Anthony and Forson and these guys. But why do you think, if we tried to put ourselves in Ten Hag's mind, why would he not play in there? What are the reasons for it?
He doesn't see him as a goal scorer. That's one of the biggest things. Under Ten Hag and during his entire tenure, he's always wanted his wingers to be goal scorers, because it's always been the wingers who've been his go-to players when it comes to scoring the goals. And throughout his tenure, I can say as well, in his first season it was Marcus Rashford who was the difference maker. In his second season it was Alejandro Garnacho who was the difference maker. So he didn't really, when he looked at his wingers, he used to go, who is going to give me the most goal scoring output out of these wingers? And when you look at Rashford and when you look at Garnacho, they're very, very direct wingers. Anthony as well, he's a very, very direct winger. Ahmad is not a direct winger. He likes to take the ball outside.
He's not a transitional kind of player in that sense.
He's someone who is very good with the ball at his feet. He's someone who's got the natural ability and technical ability to actually, dribble around in the box and actually retain possession while he is able to, scan the entire area and then look for the pass or go for the goal. Under Ten Hag, he didn't want that sort of a player. He wanted it to be lightning quick. He wanted it that when the wingers are bombing forward and an overload is created, he wanted them to take shots. You could see it with Rashford, you could see it with Garnacho. Ahmad is not that sort of a player. So you could see him favoring Anthony more. And even this season, even though Ahmad looked quite good, yes, he had a dip in form, but so did all our forwards. So he started to favor Anthony once again. And I think when you look at both of their goal scoring output, Anthony is nowhere near to Ahmad at the moment. Ahmad has got more confidence. I think Ahmad actually creates a lot more trouble on that right hand side as well. And because I think whenever Ahmad plays, it creates that sort of dynamism that teams actually don't know where we're going to be attacking from, whether it's going to be the right or the left. Because the moment you put someone like Anthony on there, they know that the left, if you shut off the left hand flank, no attack is actually going to come from the right.
I look at Trincao and Goncalves. I feel like in this team, I'm going to get onto Mason Mount and a couple of other players later on. But in this team, I think like Mount or Bruno will do the Goncalves role. And maybe Ahmad will do the Trincao role. Now, Ahmad isn't as lightning quick as Trincao, because if you watched him in that against City, he was running him ragged. But I think he's a great ball carrier. That's one thing with Ahmad. He's really good, like close control. He can move it about. So that's why I think he'll be very favourable in that role. Now, if we take a look at his stats at Manchester United whilst he's been there, they don't look amazing simply because the game time and he's not really had a consistent run of form. 6 goals and 4 assists in 37 games. But, I mean, how many of them are starts? How many minutes has he had? In terms of conversion, I'm sure it's probably right up there. We saw his stats at Sunderland, the numbers he was putting up there. So do you think he can replicate that at Man United?
I think he can. And like you mentioned as well, he's rarely gotten the opportunity to actually, even put together 10 starts. He's never had that. Other players in his position have had that. Garnacho has got a good few starts. Rashford has got a good few starts. Even Anthony has gotten a good few starts as well throughout his tenure at United. Ahmad has never got that. And I think now that you've got a manager like Amorim at the club, it is a very, very good situation for Ahmad. And like you mentioned, Trincao at Sporting, his job isn't even to actually score goals. Trincao is a very, very problematic player for defenders because he knows how to pick them out of position, and the moment even a single defender for even a split second, if they are out of position, Gyökeres just runs through, makes the run, and he finds him and he goes for goal. That is the thing that Ahmad needs to do at United now. He has to create those sort of problems. He has to create those spaces for Højlund to move into, because I still think that Højlund as a profile is very, very similar to Gyökeres at Sporting. So if Gyökeres, Trincao, and Gonçalves, if we are able to find that sort of combination with Højlund being in there, Ahmad or Mount, or you can even put Bruno in there, I would still say Bruno is a better player than Gonçalves in that number 10. So if you can find that chemistry and if you can find that sync when you're moving the ball forward, it's going to be very difficult to stop Ahmad and Højlund at the same time.
I think UTFR makes a great point. It says we're going to get the best out of Bruno. He's going to absolutely be mega in this system. And I agree, because one thing we've said multiple times on this channel is Bruno Fernandes does his best work in the final third, and that's where he should be. Rather than in Erik ten Hag's system, he'd be constantly tracking back, or he'd be in like the number 6 position. I remember the Galatasaray game where he was covering for McTominay, started screaming at him, and Ziyech goes and wins a free kick and scores. So I think positional discipline and having him just as a killer in that final third, whenever he receives it, whether it's on the transition, whether we've had a lot of possession, he will be really, really effective in there. And I think his numbers might, I don't know if you agree with this, his numbers might actually go back to start looking like they was, initially under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Yeah, 28, 40 goal contributions.
Yeah, whatever it was. Madness. 18 goals, 12 assists in the league, and then I can't remember what it was, I think, in all competitions. But I remember him breaking Lampard's record. So you would expect, with those 3 staying more forward, not as much required either to kind of track back.
Exactly.
The output from both of those players will significantly jump, right?
Yeah, it would. And under Amorim, one of the things is you play centrally as well. It's not that you're just bombing forward with the wing backs or the wingers, that you just need to create chances from the wings. He plays centrally as well. So that is the area, I would say that is the area where Bruno excels the most. If you allow him to play centrally in behind the striker and just allow him to, if during 75% of the game Bruno has the ball and he's around that box and he just needs to feed Højlund in, he's genuinely going to be very, very difficult to stop.
Yeah. And you know what? I was thinking about this last night. Have you ever seen those memes where there's a girl laying in bed, it's supposed to be your girlfriend, and there's a guy on his back like that, and he says he's probably thinking about me or something, and he's thinking about football or like tactics or something.
Yeah,
I was literally last night, I was laying there and I was thinking, like, how's this team going to fit into the system? And I was thinking, well, actually, this formation suits our team a lot because you have Matthias de Ligt, for example, who's going to be the central centre back. And what does he like to do? He likes to be aggressive. He likes to, get close to the player, which is what you need from that kind of position, right? And in this system, you don't have a pure number 6. You don't have a Rodri or anything like that, really. You have two kind of 8s in a sense, where you have Casemiro and
Exactly.
Kobe, let's say. So they're the central there. You're fine. Lissandro moving out to the left-hand side. If you look at his progressive numbers under Erik ten Hag, they was good initially, but then they dropped right off. So him being on that left side, where there's emphasis on the centre-backs to play more, you play into his strengths. Channel defending is a different conversation because he's not great 1v1 in those kind of areas. Same thing with Yoro. Yoro, right centre-back there, amazing. Diallo, what is his weaknesses? Defending near the back post. He's not going to be really doing much of that you would expect. He's more attacking, putting crosses into the box. So you can go through each player and you can be like, Bruno Fernandes and Mount in those attacking areas. And they'll be killers, absolute killers, quick thinkers.
I think we still got a lot to see from a couple of players in this system. I think Mount could prove very, very effective. I would still say what skilled Mount of during his tenure at United has been injuries, because even this season, whenever he's been on the pitch, him and Bruno, whenever they are pressing off the ball, they look very, very good. Mount is very, very effective off the ball, and Amorim wants that sort of intensity from his forward players. So Mount could fit right in, and he can genuinely do a very good job. And by the looks of it, and by the reports that have been coming out, Amorim does really like Mount, and he might be starting the game against Ipswich as well. And I think the second player is de Ligt. I think we still. I'm really not sure if we even seen a quarter of what de Ligt is actually capable of.
Yeah.
So, and under Amorim in a 3-back system where he's played in Juventus, he's played the similar system for Netherlands as well. I think it's going to be, if we can get de Ligt to that level, I think it's going to be a very, very sorted defense. When you've got de Ligt to his best, you've got Leny, Yoro, and then you've either got Lisandro Martinez. You've got a lot of options. You can put Luke Shaw in there when he's fit. You can even put Johnny Evans or Maguire in there as well. Maguire is decent in a 5-back system. So Maguire could slot right in there, as well as if you want to rest de Ligt and you want to put in Harry Maguire as that centerpiece to just aggress and just spring the ball around. Maguire can do just a decent job as well.
Well, we know that the manager's is happy to use this current crop of players, but obviously he is going to dip into the market, and there's reports coming out from United Districts that following his initial evaluation of the squad, Amorim feels he needs new midfielders in the summer. He believes a new defensive midfielder and another player who can operate in one of the two number 10 positions in his 3-4-3 formation. I thought that was interesting because I said to Sam yesterday, I'm not desperate to bring in a midfielder because Ugarte and Casemiro, I think that's decent cover. And then likewise with Kobe and whoever else who plays there. But can you see why he wants a specific one in there?
Yeah. And you can just understand it a way, with the way that this quote has come out as well, that it means Antony will be gone. It also means that Rashford will be gone as well.
You think?
If you want to get in. Yeah, I think Rashford will be gone because I highly doubt Rashford will be used as a striker in the system, and we've already seen that it doesn't really work out to have Marcus Rashford as a striker in this sort of a system. And when you're playing as the 10, with the way Rashford operates as well, I would say it doesn't really play to his strengths. It genuinely doesn't play to his strengths, especially under this system where you've got to find Højlund every single time he makes the run, and work in tandem with the striker, and on top of that, work off the ball as well. It doesn't really play to his strengths at all. So I think under Amorim, we might be seeing a couple of departures in that attacking department, and I think it's needed as well. You need fresh. I've been saying it for a lot of time as well. You need fresh faces in there, and if it is at the cost of Marcus Rashford, and if it is at the cost of probably another winger like Antony in that department, I think it needs to happen. Because there are going to be other players available in the market who can do a better job than them in this department. And when you look at it from a different way as well, when you play as a 10, you need to be creative. You can't just be, you can't be cutting back every single time and just going for goal. You need to have that dynamism that you can create chances and be a goal scoring threat at the same time, like Bruno does. Bruno knows when to shoot and when to actually, make that extra pass. So you need that those sort of players. And at the moment, you've got Bruno, you've got Mount, and you've got Ahmad. But with the number of games we play in a season as well, you need some sort of depth in that department.
As harsh as it sounds, I think Marcus Rashford at the moment is one of the sellable assets that we've got.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you're going to get big money for someone, whether it's a 50, 60 million, I think there are teams out there who are willing to gamble on that. So if Amorim identifies that and he decides it's time for Rashford to move on, then I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if I agree with you fully on the striker situation. I think he may play there. I think he might not be the starter there, but I think he might get some minutes.
I'm not sure if he'll be happy not being a starter.
Maybe not.
Because
it depends on
with the wages that we pay him. Yeah, with the wages that we pay him, and like we mentioned before as well, you've still got you've got 2 strikers already at the club, out and out strikers already at the club. So how will Rashford fit into this front 3?
Yeah,
it's a big question mark.
Let's look ahead to that Ipswich game. We're not going to do the preview because we're going to drop the preview tomorrow. But there are reports that Yoro and Mount are looking good and pushing for a start against Ipswich, which would be very interesting. Luke Shaw can't play a full 90 minutes yet, but he could get minutes as well.
Don't give him minutes.
Expectations for these guys, so Yoro and Mount specifically, and Shaw as well, if you want to throw that in there, for the Ipswich game.
I genuinely, I just hope that they're not rushing them in. That's the first thing that I'm concerned about, because look, Leny is a fresh new signing. I don't want him to be in a situation where he comes in, is once again able to show sparks and glimpses, and then he gets, picks up a knock or injury because he's been rushed back into the team. I don't want that to happen. He's very, very young player. So we need to be careful with him. And Mount and Shaw both, we really need to be careful with both of them as well. Shaw has had a massive injury record, and same goes for Mason Mount. And I would say that both of them are very important to the way we are going to be playing this season now, in a 3-back, or whether you want to deploy Shaw as a left centre back or even as a left wing back. He is going to prove very crucial. So
let me ask you something about that. With Mount and Shaw, do you think they was picking up more injuries because of the way Ten Hag would play, or do you think they are just naturally injury prone?
I wouldn't say that I wouldn't blame it entirely on Ten Hag. I do think that there were certain instances where they were rushed back into the team. Yeah, I think they were rushed back into the team, and we've seen it with Luke Shaw in this, this prior season as well. It came out as well that he was rushed back with an injury. He had a knock, and then he came back once again, looked very decent, picked up another injury and was.
I think.
Yeah, a Luton game, and I think even the West Ham game where Lisandro Martinez was rushed back in as well.
Yeah.
He picked up an injury and was out again. So we need to be careful. And then with the training sessions that Ten Hag actually put in, I do understand that physical trainings do take a toll, but I've seen other teams do much more grueling sessions, and their players come out okay. You see Liverpool under Klopp.
Yeah,
it's not an easy training session to go through. You see Barcelona this season under Hansi Flick. These players are scared that they have to run 20-30 miles when they pick up when they pick up a loss. If we see Barcelona training sessions under Hansi Flick when they pick up a game, when they pick up a loss, players actually faint on the field.
Yeah, there's a fine balance in there between intensity and burning players out at times. Because I agree with the Klopp, they did have that intensity about him, and he was an extremely fit team. But sometimes he would have that burnout. You saw that towards the end of the season.
Season to season,
So it's about managing that. And that's one thing I think Arne Slot's done really, really well going into Liverpool. He's made him a bit more composed. He's made him not... So the reason why I asked about that is because you look at the way Ten Hag played, and we'd watched him many times, obviously.
Yeah.
The amount of running, the midfielders, like the gaps that he was covering, Casemiro and his own Manu.
It was not organised at all. It was... I think any midfield, and even if we actually got Rodri in that system as well, he would look very bad.
Yeah.
Because there's just no organization, and the gaps were so big in between the defensive line and the midfield line. Any team could cut through.
Yeah. I want to switch gears. I'm going to go into the comments shortly. I'm not ignoring you guys who've put them in. I will go to them in a minute. I just want to get this story not out of the way, but there was some reports, and I keep seeing this guy's name linked with Manchester United, Leroy Sané. And there was a reporter that asked him, saying Man United and Arsenal are interested in you. Does the Premier League still have an appeal for you? And he says, I have a fondness for the league and still follow certain games on TV, but the attraction for me lies in the club where I can show my best performance, develop, and win titles. You're not going to do that at Arsenal. I have that FC Bayern. This is where I have my biggest challenge and goals. Would you be, you saying about the attacking departments there, is Sané someone you would look at, 28, 29 now, on huge wages at Bayern Munich? Should United even consider someone like this? But I think, sorry, just to add to that, he's got a year left of his deal, or his contract runs out in summer potentially, so I don't know how that would work.
Look, he's someone who is, I would say, on a regular basis, every season gets double digits in both goals and assists. He is a very dynamic winger. He's very explosive as well with his pace, and with the change of pace he does with the ball at his feet. He's a very tricky winger, no doubt about it. It's just his past at City.
Yeah. That we got linked with Sterling, didn't we, recently? Remember?
Yeah, I didn't really like the Sterling one either.
No, I wasn't a fan of it.
Yeah, so it just doesn't really fill me with that much confidence. And at the moment, there is only one winger that I would say if United are going for someone like that sort of a profile, because if we get someone like a Sané, it's like a superstar signing because of the name and with the kind of weight that he brings to the club. There are only a couple of wingers out there.
Go on.
At that level that I would actually want to go for at this moment.
Go on. Who would you go for?
Yeah.
Kvaratskhelia.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah, because look, the thing is, when you go in for that sort of profiles, I just want to make sure that now that we go in for players, especially in those attacking departments, I don't want it to be a gamble.
No,
I just want it to be a
Kvaratskhelia would be one. Do you know?
I want someone to come in
who'd be really good in Ahmad's role, even though I really love Ahmad, and this is like a dream signing, would never happen. Cole Palmer.
I know.
Whoa, Cole Palmer. Palmer and Bruno in that attacking
in those 10s.
The striker, even if you're shit, you're getting 15, 20 goals a season.
Of course.
Because the amount of chances you're going to get in that team would be unbelievable.
And then you've got Ugarte and Menu in behind them to actually win the ball back off.
Kira's just said in the chat, Menu could be another one who could get even better under Amorim. You've seen him closely working with Kobe Menu. And he will be in the team, definitely. I think the more of the conversation is about, I think Ugarte and Casemiro might start together initially because Menu's fitness or what have you. But I think eventually the conversation is going to be, should Ugarte play there or Casemiro, rather than should it be Kobe.
I think all three of them will get enough minutes. Yeah. And you never know, it might be a conversation where we end up seeing Casemiro Ugarte as the starting pair or Casemiro as Menu as the starting pair, because Casemiro this season has been really good now. He's been able to hold off his own. He's been really solid. And look, once again, under Amorim's system, I think he plays Homeland in his midfield line at Sporting. So if you want someone to place those vertical passes and diagonal passes into your number 10, Casemiro's the man for you.
Absolutely, he is. And you know what? After the Liverpool game, I was like, this guy's done. I'm just so done with him. He's reckless. He's wild. He's going in it everywhere. I was completely done. But like I was with Andre Onana after the Galatasaray game, and he's came back. So if anything, they've just shown a bit of character resilience that they can get back into the team, which I'm always happy for, and happy to be proven wrong if they're performing well. Jonathan Ball's put Mount actually attacks the box really well and is very adequate at cutbacks, adept at cutbacks. Apologies. Mount is someone you know the Shreyas, Sam Stive, someone I've always been a fan of, and I rate him as a player. I do think he's really, really good. But again, when we first initially bought him, the main concerns were, where's he going to play if Bruno Fernandes is in the team? And the midfield of Casemiro, Bruno, Mount just did not work whatsoever. Now with this system in place, you can play him on either one of those 10s. You can drop him a little bit deeper if needs be. So, I think he's going to get minutes. It's just about him staying fit now. The last, change gears again slightly, but the last topic I want to discuss, we was talking about Leroy Sané there and the Manchester City ties and Cole Palmer, etc. with the City ties as well. Manchester City, whilst we're on the conversation of him, announced last night that Pep Guardiola is staying for another year, and then there's an option for an extension as well, which will take it past a decade when he's been in charge of Manchester City. What was your reaction to that news?
Yeah, I mean, look, gives Amorim, a couple more fixtures to beat him 4-1 now with United.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Everyone's
but
gonna have eyeballs on that fixture in December, aren't they?
oh
Against
yes,
City.
and look, if we if we can recreate it even once, I would say
Oh
throughout the
yeah.
course of the season, yeah, we all know how it's going to go after that game. But
Mm.
yeah, look, the thing is, I think right now, even when Pep looks around, I would say prospective clubs
Hmm.
that he can actually go to right now, there isn't really a good, better choice if he looks past Man City, because he's got a very, very good crop of players.
Yeah.
He's got a very good budget to work with as well, every single transfer window. So, and it is kind of a situation where a Premier League trophy is guaranteed pretty much every other season. So I'm not sure where he'll move on to after the after Man City, but I think now Man City actually do have a problem, and I think one of the reasons why they extended Pep is because they don't know who to bring in after Pep.
I always felt like he'd go back to Barcelona at some point,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
because,
but
like you
Hansi
referenced,
Flick
Hansi
is
Flick doing really, really
yeah.
well there. Obviously he's been Germany, he's been in the Premier League now, maybe Italy potentially with a big giant, bring Juventus back to winning
Maybe
titles or something.
maybe AC Milan.
I know
Maybe AC
Thiago
Milan is the
Motta's
next
there,
door.
or AC Milan, yeah, is another one. I mean, listen, he can cherry pick a club really, couldn't he? Pep, he's the best manager
Yeah,
in the
but I
world
don't think
currently.
that Man City at the moment really have. I think genuinely it was reported that they wanted Amorim as well. They had certain conversations with Amorim regarding the Man City job, and a couple of other managers were linked to the job as well, because
Mm,
everyone thought that this would be Pep's last season at City.
yeah.
I think now that they've actually looked at the market and seen the options that are available, there aren't really as many good managers available in the market right now,
Yeah, it's when I heard it, I
unless
was
they
just
get Ten
like,
Hag.
Imagine. When
Ten
I
Hag to
when I
City,
heard he was staying, I was just like, oh, I can't be arsed, man. I really can't be
one more
arsed for
season.
another, yeah, one more season.
Yeah,
Because I think genuinely, and I'm just being honest here as a United fan, I think the competition opens up so much. If he fucks off, I'm sure
yeah.
City have got a contingency plan. It might have been Ruben Amorim, who knows. And someone to bring in, but you've got Tiki Bergestan that's leaving or left there as well. They've got
Yeah.
big changes ongoing there, so I feel like if he would have gone, there would have been a bit of a period where it's like, right, we've got to get at him now. You've got teams. You can only take 6 months or a year for a team to really turn it around. So the competition would open right up, and you've seen how
It will.
competitive it is at the minute with Liverpool and Arsenal and Villa and all these teams. And it's just like that. Like now they're staying. They're still the favourites every year to win the league, and it's just like,
They
ugh.
are, and I think that's a big problem as well for City, because any other manager who's now going to be coming in, the expectation would be to win the league in the
Mm,
first season itself,
mm,
with the kind of players that they've got at their disposal. So
yeah,
it's not going to be an easy job for whoever comes in, and if there is if someone comes in and isn't able to get things right, then it means that they compromise the season, because like you mentioned, the competition in the league right now is so high. You've got right now Liverpool with a very, very healthy margin at the top,
mm,
and they're still performing very good season, week in and week out
mm,
against good teams as well. Then you've got Arsenal, who I'm pretty sure won't win the league, but they'll still be around there. And you've got Forest there. Chelsea are coming back through on it as well, and Chelsea reinvest every single window and get some new players in. And right now, like you mentioned, Cole Palmer is there. You've got the likes of Moises Caicedo in there. Might be seeing Victor Osimhen there next season.
mm.
So they are going to be reinvesting. So it's going to be very tough, and it's going to genuinely, uh, create that sort of vacuum at the top as to who actually takes that, position after Man City for like 2 to 3 years. Whether it's Liverpool, whether it's Chelsea, maybe Amorim is able to get to that level.
I was just about to
Hopefully he
say,
can.
people
Yeah,
will laugh, but I remember Antonio Conte when he was at
yeah,
Chelsea, and they was playing like a back four, and they were shipping in a load of goals, and Conte switched it, brought Marcus Alonso in, brought Victor Moses in as wing backs, and he
yeah,
was like contributing loads. I think Diego Costa was there, Hazard was still there as well potentially,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and went and won a league title with him. So it's
I
not.
think
I'm
they
not
had
saying we're
Fabregas that season as well.
Fabregas as well, yeah. I'm not
Yeah,
saying we're going to win a league title by any stretch of imagination,
of
but I'm just
course.
saying it can be done. You can turn them around and make them hard to beat and get pushed right back up there. The back five narrative with United, I've never understood people against it, because it's been effective in Europe. There's so many examples. And I was reading into this last night. Xabi Alonso, the most recent one, just won a league with Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah,
by playing that flexible
and
kind of
played
back
very,
five, back
very,
three
and played
system.
genuinely played very
Really good
attacking
football. Yeah, really
Yeah,
good football. Inter Milan with Inzaghi, back three, back five,
yeah.
winning league titles, won by 20
Tuchel with
points.
Chelsea.
Tuchel with Chelsea. You can even go into like the lower teams who have done like really, really well, for example, or like Leipzig, for example, with Nagelsmann got to 2 semi-finals. There's
Yeah.
loads of examples of him working, so I've never understood the bit of saltiness or bitterness towards a
I think
back
it's
five,
a very,
actually.
I think it's a lazy comment
It
to
is.
call a back five system that it's pragmatic, it's
Just
very slow.
defensive, like,
Yeah, I've seen Pep struggle against Oli, who played a 3-4-1-2 every
yeah.
single time we played
Pep
against
struggled
City and
against
struggled.
Tuchel in the Champions League final
Yeah,
and
yeah,
lost. So
yeah,
it's effective if you use it right. Italy won a Euros with it. I know they weren't the best team,
yeah.
but if anything, that shows
But
more that the system
still managed to win
under
it.
Mancini, whoever it was, it
Yeah,
Mancini in charge when they won the
yeah,
Euros.
it was Roberto Mancini. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't get that back five narrative, but it is what it is. Look, we're gonna have another show later on at 6 o'clock. It might be speed news, might be a pre-record. I'm not entirely sure yet. We'll see what kind of news pops up. But we're also gonna have the Ipswich preview tomorrow, and then football is back on the
Finally.
weekend. Oh my god. And then no more international breaks until March. So we've just got every day of the week almost football, which is amazing. And I can't wait to get back into it because it's only so long you can speak an international break about what kind of waffles Amorim's making in the kitchen or what have you. So I'm just happy. I mean, it's been all right because we've had a new coach to discuss and ideas and who's going to play there. But in reality, the situation is on Sunday, we actually get to see and we'll be live for it and covering every bit of it. Who's going to be starting, and we've got loads to analyse as well. It's not going to be the same old, well, we know what Ten Hag's going to do. When we actually do the preview, it's going to be like, ooh, interesting. So, yeah. And we've also got Premier League predictions as well coming on, which I'm going to record Thursday night, and we'll drop that on Friday. So, yeah, as always, smash that like, hit that subscribe button. We're on 8,022 subs. We're subscribers this month. Me and Shreyas was talking it off camera.
Yeah.
Mental. But 800 subs just alone this month. So, yeah, appreciate all the support, all you guys joining in, everyone in the chat, Alex, Jonathan, Kelvin, UTFR, Kira. Sorry if I've missed any names out, but appreciate every single one of you. And we'll see you later on tonight, yeah? Take it easy.